Hi, and congratulations on your 2019 SV Pathfinder. This is one of my favorite vehicles. It is absolutely amazing. It's got all kinds of room, lots of power. It's pretty decent on gas for the size of it, and it's got a ton of features in it. We're going to go over this vehicle to refresh your memory on what you've got. And if you still have any questions at the end of this, please don't hesitate to get in touch. All my contact info will follow. Let's have a look at your brand new vehicle. Here on our center console, we've got a navigation system, very easy to operate. I've got many ways that I can do this. This is full touchscreen, or using down below here, I can hit the Navi button. If I know exactly where I'm going, I can just go into street address and I can either set the province or state, I can set the city beforehand, or if it's something local, I can just start punching in the address and away I go. If I'm looking for points of interest, depending on what I'm looking for, maybe I'm looking for a bank machine, I can just go in and it's going to start with what's closest and work its way out from there. Really easy to operate this system, and it's going to get you where you want to go. For our audio, if I hit the audio button, I see right away it's set for Bluetooth connection. And turn the volume down here just to make sure that somebody didn't leave it up. And I'm going to set it for FM. Right away I see I've got my radio here, and I've got 36 presets. Now my presets will allow me to mix FM and satellite, as we can see here. So I've got my FM, but if I tap on number 36, I've got satellite. So I can set a really nice mix of either one. I'm going to set my radio right now on preset number 1, and then using the enter button over here on the steering wheel, if I tap up or down, I can move through my presets. So it gives me control of my audio right from the steering wheel. I can also change the source right up along the top here, or if I want a full list, I've got AM, FM, satellite, which is free for the first 3 months, CD, which is located down here, Bluetooth audio, USB, I have an iPod menu as well, and auxiliary. So I'm going to back out of here. We're going to have a look at our climate control. Now, all of my climate control stuff is down the bottom, or I can access it all through the touch screen up here. Now, right now I've got my temperature set for 21, and it's set for auto. And if you notice, it says sync all. So what that means is, with my tri-climate control system that I have here in the Pathfinder, dual in the front plus a full climate control system in the back, everything is synced right now. So if I hit rear climate, I notice it's also set to 21, and it's set for auto, the same as the front. So I'm going to back out of here to the front. In the front, I can change the temperature. Now, if I want to do that from down below here, if I turn the dial, the temperature for everything is going to change. However, if I do it from the passenger side, my rear is synced up with the front, as it tells me, but my passenger side is now set for its own temperature. This is really neat. And if I then push the sync button down here or up here, everything goes back to the driver's side. My air conditioning is controlled right here, so I'm going to turn that back off at the moment because it's not all that cold, not all that hot out yet. And if I want to access my rear climate control, I can either do so from the back, which we'll see later, or I can access it from the front here. So if you've got really young kids, you can control everything right from the front. So I can increase my temperature, decrease it. I can change my fan speed up here. I can sync up so that everything is synced. And then I've got my auto, which I'm going to leave it on for right now because auto is going to determine how high that fan speed is all on its own. When I come back out here, and everything is set to auto, not only will it control the fan speed, but it's also going to control where my airflow is going here as well. So that's our climate control system. Now, if I hit the status button, I can see what's going on with my radio as well as my climate control, or I can change that bottom screen to show me my fuel economy. Once more, will give me a compass to show me which direction that I'm going in. So you can leave that wherever you want. I'm going to put us back on the map here. Our dial here in the center will allow me to zoom in or zoom out. I can move the location of where I want. I can pick a location from there, set the destination, all using this dial right here. For right now, I'm just going to back out and put everything back where it was. Down below, I've got my audio system. So I can set some presets here. I've got my CD player, volume for my radio, my tuner so that I can pick and choose what station I'm on manually. And then I can set down here, radio, which will give me the three options of AM, FM, and satellite. Disc, which is my CD, or media, which is USB, Bluetooth, auxiliary, gives me all those options. And then my normal stuff down here. I can scan for a radio station, I can just set something random, or I can just head to the next available station down here. Down below, we have our climate control. So my heat can be controlled from either of these dials depending on how I want to do it. This side, when everything is synced up, will change the temperature for the entire vehicle. When nothing is synced up, this will change for the driver's side. This will change for the passenger side. I can see right now the rear is on. I can turn that off simply by pushing that. And then when I notice up here, my sync is just on the front. So I'm going to turn that back on for now. Mode will allow me to change where my airflow is going. So that's going to change it from the vents in the floor, to the floor in the windshield, and so on. If I want strictly on the windshield, I've got my own button here to get there really quick. I also have a rear defrost. Now the rear defrost button is also going to activate your heated side mirrors. So that's pretty much all my options, and my fan is right here, and my rear control is just going to bring up here to give me full access to the back. Down below, I've got a couple of USB ports here. I have my traditional USB port, which is actually USB 2 in this case, and I have a Type-C port. So depending on the type of phone that you have, if you have an Android phone, you're familiar with Type-C, but you can get a double-ended Type-C port. And one of those that's actually, you can use it for connecting two phones, or you can connect to your phone and then to the port down there to charge it. Now if you have an Apple phone, you can get a cord that has a Lightning port on one end and a Type-C port on the other end. That will allow you to charge your Apple phone down in that Type-C port, and it is a faster charge than what you will traditionally get in your normal USB. We also have a 12-volt power port here. I've got my heated seats. Now, before we look at our 4x4 in our center console, I've got a few more things in here. My SD card is what controls my maps. So I'm just going to leave that one alone. But down here, I've got two USB ports. Your vehicle will interact with these. You can connect a device from either of those ports and stream your music, or if you've got a thumb drive full of music, you can just plug right into there. You can also connect in through the auxiliary ports, and we have another 12-volt power port. Now down here, I've got my dial for my 4x4. Right now I'm in two-wheel drive, and from about mid-spring until about mid-fall, this is where we recommend that you leave this. Once you hit mid-fall, you're going to want to turn it to auto. What that's going to do is you're still going to drive in front-wheel drive about 95% of the time. Pulling away from a dead stop or any traction conditions will automatically engage the 4x4. If you want to lock in 4x4, now I'm going to show you up here. Auto shows me up in the dash there. Two-wheel drive shows. Now if I turn the dial once more and it is spring-loaded, it now says lock. That means I am locked into 4x4, regardless of the speed that I'm going. And then right here, I have my hill descent assist. So if I push this, I now see another icon flashing on the screen there that looks just like this. This is if I'm coming down a large hill, especially if I'm towing anything, as you've got a 6,000 pound towing capacity. You're going to want to turn this on. This is going to help prevent you from picking up a pile of speed, make it a little bit easier on your brakes. But we're going to turn that back off at the moment. And to turn my lock back off, I'm simply going to turn it again, and it bounces back, and now we're back to auto. We've got our heated seats right here with high and low for both front seats. Next up, we're going to have a look at our steering wheel and the controls there. On the right side of our wheel, we see the controls mounted for our cruise control. So I can turn this on just using this button, and I've got some new stuff pops up here. From there, I'm going to set my speed by tapping down. I'm going to resume if I've had to tap my brake or hit cancel just by tapping up. I can increase my speed by tapping up, or I can decrease by tapping down. This other button here, this is going to control distance because you have adaptive cruise control or intelligent cruise control. The way that this is going to work is if you're driving along, and by default it is set for 3 car lengths plus safe distance, you're driving along and the vehicle up ahead of you is going slower than you are. So let's say, for example, you're in a 110 zone on the highway, so 110 kilometers an hour, you've got your cruise set on that, and there's a transfer truck ahead of you that's doing 90. The passing lane is too full for you to get out and around it, so as you approach this vehicle, once you get within that preset distance, whether it's 3 car lengths, 2 car lengths, or 1 plus the safe distance, you're going to slow down to match the speed of that transfer truck, in the case of this example, which is 90. Even though your cruise still says 110, your speedometer is now going to read 90 to match the vehicle in front of you. Once that transfer truck gets out of the way, or you have the opportunity to get out and pass, it's automatically going to bring you back up to the speed that you have set for the cruise, which in this example is 110. Now, using this button here, I can adjust the preset distance that I have set here. So it's on 3 car lengths plus safe distance at the moment. If I push that button, it drops to 2 or 1 and then back up to 3. Every single time I turn on my cruise, it's going to be on 3 car lengths plus safe distance automatically. It's up to you to reduce it. And just as an example, 80 kilometers an hour or higher with 3 car lengths plus safe distance tends to be approximately 2.5 car lengths. Over on the right side of our wheel, from the bottom up, we've got our Bluetooth hands-free right here. Now this bottom button will allow me to answer a call or hang up a call. The next button up is going to allow me to make an outbound call. Now this is our voice recognition button. I can set my navigation using the voice recognition, because if I go back over and look at the Navi, these buttons are going to gray out once you start driving. It is a hazard to try and set your navigation while you're in motion. However, if I'm in motion, rather than stopping, I can hit the voice recognition button. Following the voice prompts, I can set a destination on my navigation while I'm still driving without ever looking at the screen and without ever stopping. And then depending on the type of phone that you have, pressing and holding will access your phone. For example, if you have an iPhone, pressing and holding will access Siri after about 2 seconds, and then you've got all the functionality that comes with the iPhone with Siri. You can access the Hi Google function on an Android phone through there as well. Source is just going to change the source of my audio from AM to FM, satellite, Bluetooth, auxiliary, USB, CD, and so on. I've got my volume for my radio here. So between being able to change my presets when I'm on the radio, or the same functionality that we looked at earlier where I was tapping up or down to change my presets, if I'm streaming through Bluetooth, USB, or CD, that will skip tracks. Between my source button, my audio volume, and this button here to go through tracks or presets, I've pretty much got full control of everything to do with my audio. All from my steering wheel, all with the touch of my thumb. Now this back button here is going to pertain to some of the screens up in our driver assist display. My button here, the shadow box, is going to change my driver assist display. So right now we are on the home screen. All this is going to show is a picture of your Pathfinder. If I push that shadow box, we move over to a screen that's going to show our tire pressure. And once I start driving, each of these numbers will populate individually, so I know the exact pressure of each wheel. From there, if I get a low tire, it's going to pop up and tell me low tire pressure. Once that happens, it's going to tell me exactly which tire is low and what the exact pressure is. When I go to put air in the tire, whether it's at the garage or wherever, I simply go to the tire that it told me needed the air and start putting air in the tire. When it hits the right pressure, the horn is going to beep to tell you to stop. If for some reason you were to continue putting air in or went to the wrong tire, when you hit the upper limit, the horn will beep 3 times in a row. When this happens, please stop putting air in that tire. However, please hit the upper limit on the other 3 tires to make sure that you've got the same pressure amongst all your tires and get even tread wear. Our next screen over is going to show when you're in front wheel drive versus 4x4. Now where it's set for auto at the moment, this will show me when I'm in front wheel versus 4x4. If I were to lock it in, once I start driving, I've got an even 50-50 split that's going to show on the screen. And when I put it on two wheel, everything's just going to be on the top line there, which says front. My next screen shows me what's going on with my audio. My next screen has a compass. Now, this is for your navigation system. When you don't have a destination set, this will always show you the direction that you're going. When you do have a destination set, this is going to disappear and you're going to get an arrow that goes up to the right or up to the left, depending on the direction of your next turn. As well, it's going to count down the distance on this screen until that turn. All the while, it's going to talk to you through your speaker system to give you direction. So, for example, if my next turn is in 500 meters and it's on the left, I'll have an arrow going up to the left. On the screen, it'll show 500 meters. And through my speaker system, once I get within range, it might tell me in 500 meters, turn left onto whatever street. I can review any warnings on this screen. So if I've got a door that's now fully shut, or if I've got low wiper fluid, whatever the case is, it'll pop up on this screen, because you can clear that warning and then come back to it later on. There will be a yellow triangle that lights up here with an exclamation mark. Even though you've cleared the warning, you can come back to this screen and check it. To get rid of it entirely, simply correct the issue. So if I've got a door that's not fully shut, there's a warning. I hit my shadow box, my warning goes away, the triangle has stayed. Now it tells me that a door or lift gate is open. To clear that off, I'm just going to correct the issue. Our last screen over is our settings. Now, there's a couple settings I want to review in here. Please don't be afraid to play with the settings. There is a factory reset on the very bottom, but there is a couple settings I do change. In my vehicle settings, we have a new functionality as of last year called rear door alert. There will be a separate video that follows that goes over rear door alert. If you're viewing this just through YouTube, feel free to check out my channel. You'll find the video for rear door alert. But what I'm going to do is in here, I have it set for alert and horn. This is a great functionality, especially if you've got pets that you take with you or small children. I'm going to go down a couple screens here. Wiper speed, I have turned on. By default, this is off. So what this means is when your intermittent wipers are on, they are going to be speed dependent. If you've got your intermittent wipers on and they're set on the second notch and you're driving around locally and then you loop out onto the highway and you pick up speed, as you pick up that speed, the time delay is going to shorten a little bit with the intermittent wipers without you ever doing anything. We're going to travel a little further down our menu here and we're going to go into auto door unlock. By default, Nissan vehicles are set so that they will automatically unlock the doors when the ignition gets turned off. I have changed this so that the moment you shift into park, the ignition turns off. It is the preferred method for most people. Those are typically the only settings that I change. Everything else is normally turned on. If you ever want to change what you're seeing on that main menu, we can come back in here. Anything that's selected will show. Now, there are a limited number of screens that you can show. So in order to show any more, you do need to turn something off. So you need to pick and choose which ones you want to show and then go from there. Down below here, we've got a few buttons. This first one is for our traction control. This will turn it off. You're in a 4x4 vehicle, I highly recommend just leaving this button alone. However, should you turn it off, as indicated here, we've now got a little indicator over here with two cars crashing. You've just disabled the automatic emergency braking that you have in this vehicle. Your automatic emergency braking is designed, and it's got forward collision warning. It's designed so that should the vehicle in front of you pile on the brakes, inside the vehicle here, it's going to beep at you and the gas pedal is going to push back against your foot a little bit. If you don't react fast enough, the beeping gets louder and faster, and if necessary, it will start to apply the brakes. By turning off my traction control, I have disabled that safety feature. So I'm going to turn my traction control back on. along with the safety feature. Next to it, we have our heated steering wheel. If I turn this on, this is going to stay on for approximately 30 minutes. Very much like your rear defrost. Once it turns off, if you want the heated steering wheel back on, just push the button, turn it back on. My button here is the audible sounds to go with my blind spot indicators, which are on the inside of the vehicle on each side there. Now when I have a vehicle in my blind spot, whichever side it's on, the indicator on that side is going to light up a dull orange and stay lit up as long as part of that vehicle is in my blind spot. So let's say, for example, my driver's side indicator is lit up, indicating that I do have a vehicle over here in my blind spot. And I want to move over to the left. So I hit my signal light while this is lit up. This is going to start flashing and it's going to beep at me inside the vehicle. It's telling me to have a look over my shoulder because I do have something in my blind spot. Down here, this button that's on by default, this is the audible sounds that goes with that indicator in that situation. So when it starts flashing here because I want to move over, the beeping, if that button down below is turned off, the beeping will not happen. Now our tow mode here, if I'm going to be towing anything, and as I've already mentioned, we have a 6,000 pound towing capacity. If I'm going to tow anything, I want to make sure that I hit tow mode right away as soon as I'm going to be towing. And it shows me up here on the screen, tow. What that's going to do is that is going to start the cooling system on your CVT transmission to allow you to be able to tow that heavy capacity. That's the situation that once you hit a hill, when you're in tow mode, especially, that you want to put on your hill descent assist to help prevent you from picking up a bunch of speed and make it easier on your brakes. A couple final things to go over. You do have remote start on your key fob. So on my key fob, I've got my panic button, or as most people use it for, it's the find my car in the parking lot button. I've got unlock, lock, and I have remote start. So to remote start my Pathfinder, I'm going to hit the lock, and then I'm going to hold this top button for 5 seconds. That's going to remote start my vehicle from up to 200 feet away. Now, with your Pathfinder, when you get it, you have the opportunity to test out Nissan Connect services for free for the first 6 months if it's a brand new vehicle. That will be set up when you're picking up your vehicle during the delivery process. We would have gone over that on the tablet just before you got into your vehicle. That gives you the option to put the Nissan Connect Services app on your phone, at which point any of these functionalities can be used right from your phone regardless of distance at that point. But with the remote start, once I've remote started it, it is going to run for up to 10 minutes. Now when I do that, I still need to engage the vehicle when I get in, and it will tell me right up here on the driver assist display, even though the vehicle is running now, it'll tell me put my foot on the brake and push the start button to engage the vehicle. Once I do this, the vehicle is running. I can remote start this vehicle twice without ever getting in, or once with an extension, and to extend it, I'm going to hit the lock button and hold the top button for 5 seconds again to add 10 minutes to the count from wherever I'm at. So for example, if it's been running for 8 minutes, it will now run to the 18-minute mark when I extend it. If you extend it right away, it's only going to run to the 11-minute mark. Now because it is a key fob, eventually the battery inside is going to die. The battery looks like a watch battery, only a little bit larger, and the number on the battery is the battery size. The very first indication that you're going to need to change your battery is you're going to get in, you're going to put your foot on the brake, you're going to hit the start button, and up here in the driver assist display, it's going to pop up with a message that says incorrect key ID. Your first instinct is going to be to hunt for your key. Let the message go away and do it again and it should start, but that's your indication that it's time to think about changing the battery in your key fob. If you continue to go without changing that battery, that message will pop up more and more, and eventually it's going to hit a point it just won't start for you. Don't panic. Just take the Nissan emblem on the key fob, put it directly against the start button, and with your foot on the brake, use the key fob to push in your start button. It will still start your vehicle. At that point, you're going to want to go get a new battery. You can either head to the nearest Nissan location and they'll switch it all out for you, or for $1 or $2 less, you can go to Walmart, drugstore, whatever, and pick up a battery yourself. It's usually about $6 or $7. To change your battery, now should your battery be completely dead, there is a key for the driver's side door. And to change your battery, you're just going to take your key fob and put something in one of these two spots here. Give it a little twist and it'll pop open. That'll access the battery, put your new battery in, clip it all back together, and then from there, just pop your key back into place, which I'm having a difficult time with right now. Pop your key back into place, and you're good to go. With the remote start, you also have an intelligent climate control system. During the summer, if I were to remote start my vehicle, it's going to pump out cool air to help cool down my Pathfinder before I get into it. In the winter, when it is 3 degrees Celsius or less, and my engine is cold when I remote start the vehicle, regardless of what my climate control is set for, all my air is going to get focused up on the windshield, as well as the front side windows using these vents here. My rear defrost is going to turn on automatically, which activates my heated side mirrors, and my heated steering wheel will turn on automatically in that situation. And if I've left my heated seat in an on position, that will start to warm up as well. All of that by remote starting under those climate control conditions. In the back seat, I've got climate controls back here. Now, I've got the vehicle turned off at the moment. However, if you're in the back, you can turn the climate control off here. You can change your fan speed. You can set it for auto, which is the preferred method for most people, and you can adjust your temperature. Now, if I look down here, I also notice, same as in the front, I've got a USB port and a Type-C USB port. So I can charge anything back here as well. Now, I want to show you how you access your back seat, because it's pretty neat and pretty easy. For my back seat area here, if I want extra cargo space, I can simply pull on the cargo mode handle, and that seat drops down. And when the back seats are down, which I'll show you in a moment, that gives you a whole pile of cargo space. So I'm going to put this back up. If I want to access that back seat for somebody to sit in, now right away I can see the seats will move. So there is a bar under the front that I can slide that forward and back, but there's a handle on the side that if I push up and slide forward, it gives me full access to the back seat. And you can do this from either side. From there, if I put the back into place, slide back, it clicks, push the seat down. Now obviously this is a little cramped here with a ton of room back there, so I'm going to move it back a little bit. And then everybody's got some leg room there. I can move it all the way back if need be. And then in the center here, I've got some cup rests, or armrests and cup holders. All the while give me all the space that I need. In the very back here, I've got a little bit of hidden storage in underneath here. If you ever have to access your spare tire, which is under the vehicle, you're just going to turn this, pop this out, and then your jack and tire iron are right here. Take your tire iron, pop it onto that, and just twist it. It will drop your tire down and give you full access to it. So I'm going to put this back in place, and I'm going to cover this back up. And then I've got all this storage area here hidden away. For my back seats, if I want extra storage, all I got to do is give a little tug on that and it drops down, and then with one finger I can drop the seat down. Same thing on the other side here. And then I've got tethers here that if I want to pull it back up, and then just pop that back in place. So it's very easy to access and very versatile. All kinds of storage space there. Congratulations again on the purchase of your 2019 Nissan Pathfinder SV. It really is a great vehicle. This is one of my favorites. I own one of these myself. I know that you're really going to enjoy this. Take the time to get to know your vehicle. There's a lot that you can do with it. It's really great for driving, great for distance, especially if you want to travel anywhere. I hope this refreshes your memory on everything that we went over during the delivery. And if you still have any questions, please don't hesitate to call, text, email, or stop into 60 Baker Drive or Regan's Nissan, and I'm more than happy to help you with anything that I can. If I ever see you while you're over at a regular service appointment, I will pop over, say hello, and if you're in, please feel free to stop by and say hello as well. I look forward to dealing with you again when it's time for the next vehicle.